Hi, this is Graham Helfrich, Technical Advisor Manager for the Engineering Software here at IHS Markit. Welcome to the weekly Did You Know episode, where we learn how to do something of value that you probably didn't know about your IHS Markit engineering software. Today we're going to talk about refracking unconventional wells. So refracking is something that some companies are currently doing or they are considering doing. And this is typically to try to improve well productivity and increase recovery. So there's really two people who are doing this. People who are trying to anticipate or predict the benefit of refracking their wells. And then the other group of people are for wells that have been refractured, and we need to characterize what's changed in the completion and what will the new EUR be. So did you know that Harmony Enterprise can actually do this for you? Let's check it out. So here we have a horizontal multi-stage fracture well. It's a gas condensate well, and we see we have about 2 years of production history until there is a shut-in. So what happened here is the operator decided that when they originally completed the well, they had large distances between the original fracs, and they wanted to access that and add new fractures. So this well was actually refractured here, and when it was brought back online, the production was higher, and that was good, but we don't know exactly what's changed about the completion and what is the new EUR, and that's what we're going to try to accomplish. So when we go through our typical unconventional workflow, we'll always be using square root time or material balance time plots, and this signature is quite characteristic of wells that have had sudden changes in productivity, in this case from a refrac. So we have two very different trends depending on if we look before the well was refracted or after. Moving into the flowing material balance, again, we have two very different signatures. We have a contacted volume of about 43 acres before the well was refractured, and then after it was refractured, around 90 acres. So two very different trends. Moving into our numerical reservoir model, again, this is where we can tune our permeability, our fracture conductivity, our fracture half-lengths, our SRV to try to get a history match. Something that we've kind of had to live with in the past is when there's been sudden productivity changes, we've not been able to honor the entire well's production history. What I mean by that is here we see a wonderful pressure history match until the well was refractured, and I have 20 fractures applied to my model. So this is back when we had large spaces between the fractures, and represented by 20 fracture stages, I get a good history match. But if I wanted to represent after the well was refractured, I'd have to change this to 40 fracture stages. It's doing a new history match, and now we get a good match on that part of the well's life. So we've kind of had to accept this as a limitation. We have to either match the before or the after part of the well's life. So what's special about Harmony Enterprise is we can actually take care of this and match the entire thing. So if we scroll down to the different inputs, we have an option that says refract. Now some things to take note of here is we need to enter a date. So in this case, this is the historical date when the well was refractured. Now for people who are just considering refracting future wells or kind of screening candidates to see what would the benefit of refracting be, this date can be in the future. It could be in a month from now, in 2 years from now, so we can also use this in a predictive way or a history matching way, like in this case. So after we've entered the date, we have two options to change the completion behavior. One of them is we can take the existing fracs, in this case there was only 20, and we can extend them. So at this point in time, we can make them longer. We can also change the SRV permeability at that point in time as well. The other option, which is what I'm using here, is we can increase the number of fractures. So I'm going from 20 to 40 fractures when this refracture occurred. And what's neat is the new fractures can have a unique half length, and SRV permeability compared to the original fractures, just for some more tuning and uniqueness. So we can see when I do this history match, it's not taking very long. I can see that my entire well's production life is now matching, and that really helps me characterize the change in the completion. The other thing that's nice to see is when we look at this history match, I'll just run it again. When originally we have 20 fractures, and then at that moment in time, we see historically when those new fractures happened from the refract. So we'll go ahead and take this model and we're going to do a 30-year forecast to predict our new EUR. Again, this is fully multi-phase numerical. Okay, and we're done. So if we compare these different forecasts, we basically have a before and after about what would this well have produced without refracking or with the refract. So our condensate on a cumulative versus time plot, we're going to get about 150,000 incremental barrels of condensate, and for gas, we're going to get just about 2 BCF extra from this refract. So if you want to, you always have the option to add economics, and this will convert this into a discounted cash flow. This is helpful again for doing the what if of refracting if we're just screening candidates or considering it. So what does this mean for you? Well, now you have a really quick and easy multi-phase numerical reservoir model that'll let you predict and plan a refract before you actually commit to spending that money. And again, this is helpful for screening different wells you have about which ones are going to be a good candidate to give you a good return for this investment. Secondly, if you have refracted a well already and you're curious about characterizing the new completion, what has changed in the well, and the new EUR, you can do it just like we showed here. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please contact me and subscribe to be notified of next week's Did You Know episode.